calling from the north. Now, in the movie The Next Best Thing, a romantic comedy which turns kind of dark around the halfway mark, Madonna plays a Californian yoga instructor who fears her biological clock is ticking away any chance she has of having a child. Her best friend is Rupert Everett. He's gay. One night, after a little too much wine, the two of them end up together and she ends up pregnant. So the two of them move in together and share their son's upbringing.
We can't get divorced.
I love you, Sam.
Why don't you sleep in Mommy's room?
Because she snores. She snores like a great big old helicopter taking you up.
Then she meets Benjamin Bratt. You'll know him from Law and Order and Gossip fans. He's Julia Roberts' boyfriend in real life. Anyhow, Madonna falls for Benjamin. And this is where things get complicated.
Is Abby here?
It's an unconventional love story. Now, in the 40s and 50s, when they say unconventional love story, they don't necessarily mean what they mean in this thing here. Is it more conventional every day of the week as each year passes by than it ever was, say, in the 70s even, or the 60s? In other words, it's a story of 2000 that's actually maybe not that unconventional at all.
Yeah, I think when they say unconventional, they mean, you know, it's not what you would expect to see in a movie, for instance. But I think more and more families are not, you know, are not conventional, and people are getting together and deciding to have babies, not necessarily because they've fallen in love and they're going to get married and live happily ever after. There's a lot of same-sex parents, a lot of single mothers having, you know, artificial insemination or adopting children or whatever. I mean, so families are just really, you know, they're just not coming about the way they used to.
Okay, well then, in the same way as, say, to go back to the first question, like 5 years ago, maybe you were this kind of person, or you know a lot of these kind of people, you were very self-centered, you were very self-important, child comes along, changes everything. No, I'm just saying, in the movie, the two characters most certainly are for the first 45 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
And then in real life, maybe, was it the same for you 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Absolutely. My career was everything to me. And when you have a baby, it can't be that way anymore.
And are you happy the way it is now compared to what it might have been?
Yeah.
In the movie, you fall in love with somebody, and yet you got exactly what you wanted from Rupert Everett's character in the movie as well. Could I say that halfway through...
But I didn't get exactly what I wanted, because the thing is, even...
You got as much as you could ever get from Rupert.
As much as I could ever get, but I don't think I was entirely realistic when I went into the situation, because I do believe that my character, there was a part of my character that was in love with Rupert's character. You see, and so in the end, you know, we have the child, and I've got this idea that even though it's not a conventional relationship, we're going to live happily ever after, and we don't actually. And I'm the one that's frustrated after, you know, 5 years of living together and raising this child together. So...
You're the one that's frustrated, yeah.
My
but
character,
I mean,
yeah.
Also you're the one that I think is slightly irresponsible. I mean, like,
Absolutely.
What are you halfway through the movie, a bitch or a mother?
Both.
That's a hard look at Rupert then, isn't it? Like, you're a bit sort of unfair to Rupert in the movie then. What I'm saying is in the movie, there is quite a quick change.
But how am I unfair to him? Because he's unfair to me.
Why? Because he lost his temper when the two of you were there and the kid comes out. Is that what you mean? Surely you could have calmed him down. You were
yes.
the buzz in your court all the time in the movie.
Well, listen, I didn't write the script, okay? I'm just an actress playing a part, okay?
Okay, I just thought
it's
you might defend
Abby. It's not me, don't
Abby.
attack me.
Okay, no, but I mean, the character in the movie,
No, she did, you know what? What happened is she made a choice to have a child with Rupert out of desperation, because I think she never thought she was going to fall in love with someone. And then time goes by and she realizes how important companionship in love, romantic love, is to her. So then she meets this guy and she falls in love with him, and then she goes into a panic like, oh my God, I've got to do everything I can do to save this relationship, throwing out her, you know, the importance of her friendship and the agreement that she made with, it's a problem. And I think a lot of people find themselves in those situations, even when people are in, you know, normal heterosexual marriages. You fall in love with someone else, and then you know, people make lots of really silly, selfish decisions when they're afraid, in love, you know, all those things.
Yeah.
I decided to have a child instead of a husband.
Couldn't you have both?
Well, theoretically I could have both, but I waited around long enough for the right man. I might not have had the right child.
So does Robert help out? Is he a good father?
He's the greatest.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but were you two ever together?
Once. A very long time ago. For about a half an hour.
Huh.
We're best friends. No, we're closer than that. Robert's my family.
The character of Abby is tough, is vulnerable, etc. Again, did you draw from anything that you were supposed to have been in the last 20 years from what I read in the papers? Say?
No, I have no idea what it feels like to be
How
tough
did I
or
knew you were
vulnerable.
going to say that. Okay, right, fair enough. People have said like that you're like a very disciplined person, the way you approach everything. The way you've approached a lot of movies in the past, would you think you've maybe made some mistakes that you saw, for instance, the roles that you were going to play in them was pretty good, pretty well written, you gave it 100%, but you forgot that you were just part of a huge whole. And this time around that maybe you had more say in everything that was going on.
No, I think that the reason that I was better in this movie than I have been in previous films is because I prepared for it as an actress. I worked with an acting coach for a really long time, and it wasn't a mystery to me. I knew what I was doing, and I had time to get really comfortable in the role. And I was working with really nurturing actors, and we had a long rehearsal period. I haven't always had the luxury of those experiences when I've made other films.
10 years ago, I met you for The Sex Book in London, about 1991 direction or thereabouts. And now, 10 years later, like you're as big or whatever in terms of right across the board, from movies to music to whatever, as you ever were. If you weren't as big when you're 50 and 60, would it worry you?
Ask me when I'm 50.
So you don't know, so it doesn't matter. It's not something that's a sort of an all-encompassing, all-consuming goal to be.
To be big?
Well, to be whatever, to be
No, it's an
part
all-consuming
of the
goal.
iconography of the world as you are now.
No,
Say.
I'll
Doesn't matter.
always be. I
Oh
already
yeah,
am.
that's true. All right,
So
that's there.
even if I disappeared tomorrow, I will be.
No, I understand that. I realise that, but I'm just thinking like as a continuation. Doesn't
Well,
matter.
I hope I'm not always doing this when I'm 50 or 60. It's exhausting.
Exhausting. Yeah, she's got it in one. So what about the movie, The Next Best Thing? Or the movies, because really it's 3 movies in one. At the outset, it's a light-hearted comedy. In the middle, it's a romantic comedy. And at the end, a courtroom drama. And all the way, it's got problems. Firstly, with nothing fresh to say, this gay best friend business is a cliché going nowhere. The night of drink and passion debauchery is very badly staged. And the child, like Trellis and Flann O'Brien's at Swim Two Birds, at least I think it was Trellis, seems to be born at the age of 6, thanks to the miracle of rushed storytelling. If it weren't for Everett, this somewhat tepid and oddly balanced movie would have few saving graces. Nonetheless, it manages comfortably enough to join that long list of vaguely pleasant, undemanding romantic comedy dramas, much loved by undiscerning movie lovers everywhere.
I don't know, he's working on some kind of a takeover.
Takeover? Don't like the sound of that. Is he attractive?
So what type?
Oh, which our type?
Big hands.
Okay, that's it. Next week...